My question for Effie: would Tariq have done the same for you? Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the tribe, and if you are returning to Fiercely V, welcome back. So happy to have you. Today we are back to discuss the latest review and recap of Power Book 2 Season 2. This time we're on episode 9, which is titled A Fair Fight? This was a good ass episode. We are getting so close to the finale. Like, the episode just keeps getting better and better. This was such a good episode. So much happened in this episode. I'm just ready to get into it, so let's not waste any time. Of course, while you're here, if you are enjoying Fiercely V, make sure that you, first off, like the video because, you know, you're here, you're having fun, right? And then also make sure that you subscribe to the tribe so that you don't miss any of the notifications for any of the other videos that are coming. I am working really hard to get consistent with content. It's just a process of getting used to the editing and how long that takes and just trying to figure out what a schedule of when to film, when to edit, all those things. Being a brand new YouTuber is literally just like trial and error. So I'm just figuring it all out. I just think we're just going to keep getting better and better and like just be along for the ride. Like, we're going to have fun. Okay. So definitely like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we will go ahead and get into the episode. There are going to be spoilers ahead, so just a heads up on that. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into Power Book 2 Season 2 Episode 9, A Fair Fight? So we're starting off the episode on some real deal horror movie type of vibes. Tariq, he shows up in canonical studies class. He sees what he thinks is Councilman Tate writing on the chalkboard, but when the figure turns around, it's actually Jabari, and he's like obviously very shook because clearly Jabari is dead. And Jabari is basically like calling him out for like all these terrible decisions that he's made that have led to so many people dying. And then one by one, all the people whose deaths he's either committed himself or is responsible for start coming back. So we see the very first person that he actually killed, which was Ray Ray. We also see his sister because, of course, his actions in the original Power directly led to his twin sister's death. We also see Lakeisha Grant, which, of course, his actions led to his mom killing her. We see Proctor because he's the one that left the door open so Tommy could come in and get Proctor. And we just see all these people whose deaths he's responsible for. The last person that comes in is Carrie Milgram, and she's basically saying, like, you know, the reason that I took my own life is because you made me get on the stand and I was judged and all this stuff, which that's not really how it happened. You actually got yourself into a lot of this by having an affair with your student, coercing another student into wearing a wire, and getting yourself all inserted into this murder investigation. Like, we can't blame the pressures that you were feeling 100% on Tariq making you get on the stand, because that's not really what happened. But basically everybody's just letting Tariq know that, like, look, all these terrible decisions you're making, like, look at how many people whose lives you are responsible for the ending of, whether directly or indirectly. So Lauren ends up walking in, and Tariq is like, don't go in there. And Lauren is like, you know, somebody's calling you, you should answer it. And Professor Milgram is handing him a phone, and the name on the call log, it says Dad. So it's his dad calling, which... It's so funny to me how much people want ghosts to make an appearance or come back or be alive or whatever. And it's just so funny that, like, literally all the people from the previous season that have died are in this scene, and Ghost is just like a phone call. Like, listen, Ghost ain't coming back, y'all. Ghost is gone. He's not coming back to the show. Clearly, he don't want to be on the show. Like, I literally feel like the actor, Omari Hardrick, is probably just like, I'm done with this show. Like, he's probably not wanting to come back. Like, not even as a cameo. So, that's why, like, we keep seeing all these other ghosts. We've seen Kanan multiple times. He was in this scene, too. And, like, we're not seeing ghosts. We're not seeing ghost. And we probably aren't, because he probably just doesn't want to come back to the show. Like, I think we need to let it go at this point, because there were like some fan theories that were saying that, like, what if Ghost is alive, and what if Mecca is his brother, and what? I'm like, okay, listen, Ghost is gone. He's dead. It's a wrap. He's not coming back. Like, we've seen all these other dead people make reappearances. Like, so many of the people who die in Power make reappearances. Like, do y'all not remember how the ghost of Angie was around for like 6 episodes after she died? So, like, ghosts be coming back in Power. Ghosts, the person, is not, clearly, and I think we need to let it go. But anyway, he ends up waking up. It's obviously a nightmare. He ends up waking up from the dream. He's laying next to Effie, and his phone is ringing. It's Davis, and Davis is like, what does Councilman Tate have on you? And he's basically like, that's going to be the next witness in his trial. So let me pan over to Councilman Tate and his brother Kamal. They're sitting in the office, and Councilman Tate is like, why are they calling me as a witness? Like, what do they think that I know about Tariq St. Patrick? And Kamal is basically like, I just told them that, like, you know Tariq St. Patrick personally, and you knew his dad personally as well. That's all I told them, and that's why they want to call you as a witness. And so Councilman Tate is like, basically just like, look, I don't know anything. I don't have any information to give them. And so Kamal's phone ends up ringing, and Councilman Tate is like, who is that? You know, you got a side chick on your wife or something like that? And Kamal is like, no, this is just some drunk lady that keeps calling. She says she saw Jabari Reynolds' murder. Then she says she didn't see it. Then she says she saw 2 people instead of 1. And, you know, he's like, what do you think? Do you think I should, you know, take her seriously? And Councilman Tate is just like, no, I don't think you should take it seriously. Like, you know what you're doing. Like, I wouldn't even insert that into the case. Like, at this point, it's just gonna throw things off. Like, don't even take it seriously. And I'm just looking like, I don't trust you, Councilman Tate. I don't trust you. You giving very much shady vibes right now. So Monet is at Mecca's house, of course. You know, she done got put out of her house after her whole family had that blow up that Diana started at the dinner table or whatever. So she's at Mecca's house. She's calling Zeke. He's not answering. She's stressed out about it. And she's basically telling Mecca, like, you don't know Zeke. Like, he doesn't make good decisions on his own. Like, he's not very, like, you know, he needs me. Like, he can't really just, like, be figuring shit out on his own. And so she's super stressed about it. And basically Mecca is like, look, you know, he'll be fine. And so then he ends up getting a text message from Zeke, and Zeke is like, he wants to see him, but he wants to see Mecca alone. He doesn't want Monet to come. And so Mecca is like, look, he wants to see me, but he wants me to come by myself. Don't worry, I will make sure that I, you know, put it in his head that he needs to reach out to you and he needs to talk to you. So Tariq pulls up in class for real this time, not in a dream, to find out that class is actually canceled. And so Councilman Tate lets him know that class is canceled, and then he goes on to say, like, you know, FYI, you know, I'm the next witness. They're calling at your trial later this afternoon, and you need to give me some real evidence about this whole blackface thing, or else I'ma, you know, get on the stand and say some stuff you don't want me to say. And Tariq is like, I gave you the information. And Councilman Tate is like, yeah, you gave me some hearsay, but I need actual proof. And so Tariq is like, okay, I can get you proof. Now, we know that Tariq have already told Braden that he wasn't going to give that picture because it implicates Braden's dad. But we know Tariq. And we know he gonna do whatever to get himself out of trouble. So it's looking very much like he's going to give him the picture anyway. So we're at Mecca's house. Cain is letting Mecca know, like, hey, you know, I took care of the stuff you wanted me to take care of. All right, time to go home. And Mecca is like, no. not time to go home. You live here now. This is your home. And Cain is like, no, I can't just stay here. Like, that ain't how this works. I need to go home. And Mecca just like gets hella crazy, yanks him up, pulls out a big ass like cleaver, like he's a butcher or something, and is like, give me your fingerprint. He like makes him give him his thumbprint, and he's like, you're my second in command now. You live here now. You don't leave. This fingerprint gives you access to everything. And Cain is like, yeah, and it also like gives you access to like literally be able to track me wherever I am at all times. And Mecca's like, yeah, you should be happy. It's a promotion. And so basically like Cain is just like low-key kidnapped. Like he's literally there against his will. And Mecca is like, yeah, you should be happy. It's a promotion. This is where you live now. You're my second in command. Congrats. And I was just like, that escalated so fast. I knew from the very beginning that Mecca was, I knew it was going to be a Cain versus Mecca situation going on. Like when Cain started getting closer to Mecca and he started seeing just how like messed up in the head and twisted Mecca really was to like the other people around him, especially when he like choked that dude out at that party that time, I was like, okay, Mecca is clearly unhinged. And eventually it's going to be Cain against Mecca. I knew it was going to come to that, but I didn't know it was going to be like this. Like Cain being held hostage in this man's house. So yeah, it's not looking good for Cain right now. It's not looking good for him at all. But basically, Mecca lets him know, first order of business, you need to call your dad and let him know that we don't got no drugs because we were robbed. And so Cain gives his dad a call. So we pan over to Lorenzo. He's at home. He's sitting on his bed looking sick, okay? He done lost his wife. Everything in his family done blew up. He's just sitting there looking sick and stressed. And so he answers the phone. It's Cain letting him know, like, hey, ain't no re-up. We don't have no drugs. Lorenzo is obviously not happy. He's like, man, what the hell? He's like, Cain, come home right now. Of course, Cain can't come home because he's being held hostage. So he's like, I can't, gotta go. And so when Lorenzo gets off the phone with Cain, he's just like hella stressed. He throws something and breaks a mirror. And then Diana and Drew walk in the room and they're like, what the hell is going on in here? Like the room is just in shambles, okay? It looked like Lorenzo been in there just tossing shit around and punching walls and shit. Like he's shambles, okay? And so they're like, what's going on? And Lorenzo is basically just like, I don't have no product. TGT ain't answering my calls because they're all dead. I can't get in touch with young Guap. He's dead. And he's just like going on and on about all this stuff. He's just super stressed. And so Drew goes ahead and comes clean and he's like, look, the reason that, there's no re-up is because like we came up with a plan to rob the plug because Monet was still doing the course correct thing with Tariq, and that was her way. That was the only way that she could get drugs. And Lorenzo is just pissed off. He's like, what? You knew this? You kept this from me? I chose you to be my second in command because I trusted you. And how could I trust you? And Drew is like, look, you could trust me. Like, the only reason I went along with it was because you knew that I, owed, young Guap a bullet. And that was the only way I could get a chance to do that. So that's why I did it. And he's like, you could trust me. And Lorenzo is like, if you want me to, like, trust you again, like, go get my drugs back right now. And so Drew is like, how? Like, how we supposed to do that? He's like, go get my drugs right now. So we're in the courthouse. Tariq walks in the bathroom, and waiting in the stall for him is Councilman Tate, and he basically is giving him the photo of Brayden's dad with Councilman Sweeney and the Blackface Situation, which we knew Tariq was going to do that. Like, at the end of the day, Tariq is always going to choose the option that benefits him at whoever's expense. That it doesn't matter whose expense it is. Like, he is so much like his father. And so, you know, he gives the photo to Councilman Tate so that Councilman Tate will not like say anything against him on the stand. And so we see Councilman Tate being questioned by Jenny, and basically Jenny is asking a lot of questions about Professor Milgram, and the judge pretty much shuts all that shit down because basically Davis has made sure that they cannot talk about Carrie Milgram's and that whole situation at all in court because it could unfairly sway the jury against Tariq. And so he has made sure that like they can't really talk about what happened with Carrie Milgram in the courtroom for that reason. And so basically the line of questioning that Jenny is trying to have with Councilman Tate about Professor Milgram, the judge is just kind of shutting it down. And so she's just like, well, I mean, Councilman Tate, like, do you have any information, you know, about Tariq that could be helpful, you know, with this situation? And Councilman Tate is like, no, I don't have any. And he's just like, but I would like to just say how proud I am of my brother Kamal for, you know, doing such a great job on this investigation and da-da-da. And so Jenny was kind of looking at him like, okay, that was kind of out of nowhere that you just randomly say that. And so basically, as soon as he says that, Jenny is like, okay, no further questions. She sits down, and so then David comes to do his little cross-examination, and he's like, oh, okay, since we're talking about your brother Kamal, like, you know, is there anything, you know, that he shared about the case or anything like that? And Councilman Tate's grimy ass chooses to repeat the information that his brother shared to him about the woman who was like making calls about the case and saying she saw this and she saw that. And so automatically Jenny is like, what, this is the first time I'm hearing about this. And so she's like, Your Honor, like, what's going on? Like, I need time to see like what's going on with this. And so then Davis tries to throw it in there like, I mean, it sounds like you're like hiding evidence from the jury. And so they basically go to the judge's chambers and they're talking about it. Of course, Jenny has no idea about this because Kamal never told her. And so she's like, we didn't even know about this. Like, we're not trying to hide nothing. We just didn't know. And Davis is like, this is grounds for a mistrial. Like, they didn't provide all the evidence. This is grounds for a mistrial. Like, whether Kamal told her or not, like, that's her problem that her people didn't give her all the information. Like, this is literally like the case needs to be dismissed. And so basically the judge is like, I'll give you 48 hours to figure out what the deal is with this woman who allegedly saw whatever. And after that, if you don't find like actual like information that is like pleasing enough to the courts, then I'm going to dismiss this case. So I'm like, not Tariq getting a case dismissed on a murder charge like his dad. Come on, tradition. So Zeke and Mecca meet up at a bar. They're just sitting there having a drink and they're chit-chatting. Zeke is distraught because basically ever since the story leaked about him actually being older than he said he was, that has like had a negative effect on his ability to go into the league. And Mecca is basically like, look, even though this story is out there, like, you could still turn it around in your favor if you just put the right kind of spin on it. And Zeke he's just not feeling very like positively about it. And Mecca is like, you know, look, this is what you should do. You should leave school, take a year off, work with just a private coach, get your skills up, and then like you'll be so good that the league won't even care about this whole little scandal, whatever. And he's like, I'll pay for it. I'll be able to take care of all of it. Zeke is not really fully buying it, but Mecca is like this could be your best option. And then he's also letting Zeke know, like, you know, you should talk to Monet, like, you know, she really is like, you know, wanting to talk to you, wanting to make sure you're okay, etc., etc. And Zeke is just like, I mean, but like, she was lying to me for how long? Like, I don't know. I don't want to talk to her. And Mecca is like basically just like trying to let him know that he should talk to her. Diana and Drew are sitting down trying to work out a plan to be able to get the drugs back and give them to their dad so they could get back in good graces with him. And Diana is basically showing Drew where Course Correct hides their drugs drugs, which is on the rooftop of the school. And so basically they're just sitting there, they're having a little back and forth, and she's like, the only way that I can get access to it is if I get this QR code off of Tariq's phone. And Drew, he says something snippy like, yeah, I bet you can, you're his little court bae or whatever. And so they start going back and forth, and Diana's just like, look, I know the only reason that Tariq asked me to go to court was to keep me distracted while y'all was pulling off y'all's little heist or whatever. Like, it's cool, whatever. And Drew is just like, I mean, you are acting like a lot of this stuff is not your fault. Like, a lot of the stuff that happened in this family is because you are just nosy as fuck and you can't mind your business and you're always in everybody's business. And I was like, yes, Drew, yes. Somebody needed to say it, because it's one thing for Diana to like make sure that she knows what the hell is going on, because everybody in her family be on some grimy shit. So it's smart to make sure that you kind of know what the hell everybody around you is doing. But it's the meddling part. It's the meddling part, because like you can be aware of what the hell is going on without like meddling in it. Cause girl, like what was the reason of you calling up hospitals and stuff and doing all this super Sherlock Holmes and like, girl, now you wanted to find out if your mom was cheating on your dad or whatever. That wasn't your business, but you wanted to find that out. But girl, what they got to do with you calling the hospital and finding out who Zeke's daddy? You could have left that alone. And that's basically what Drew told her. He was like, you know, she was like, well, that's not fair for you to say that about me. And Drew was like, last night wasn't fair. Like, it wasn't fair for you to blow up the whole fucking family at dinner. Like, that wasn't fair. It wasn't fair definitely wasn't fair for Zeke. Like, that wasn't fair. And so he's just basically telling her about herself. And then she's like, well, look, all you need to worry about is making sure that you get an access card from your boo Everett. Like, that's what you need to make sure. I'll get the QR code from Tariq, and you get the access card from Everett so we can go up here and get these drugs. And so that's their whole little plan. Diana leaves, and Drew is just kind of looking real stressed at the fact that he's gonna have to get this from Everett, because like I feel like Drew, like obviously he really loves Everett, and I feel like when it comes to situations where he's basically having to betray Everett for the family, like he's just feeling very torn, because it's like he really doesn't want to have to betray Everett, you know, but it is what it is. You trying to get back in your dad's good graces, you gotta do what you gotta do. So Zeke, Monet, and Mecca are at his house, and they're all just talking. It's given very much cute little family vibes, except a whole lot of dysfunction. Zeke is just sitting there. He looks like he don't want to hear nothing that Monet has to say. Monet is basically just like explaining to him, like, you know, look, I was young when I had you. I was 16. Mecca, well, she knows him as Dante. She's like, Dante, you know, he got arrested. He was gone. I was by myself. My mom knew I was too young to have a kid, and she sent me down south somewhere to give birth. And then my sister always wanted a boy, so she raised you, and I was just happy to be in your life as your auntie. And, you know, I just, as you got older, we saw that you could go into the league, and it would have, you know, we didn't want to ruin anything for you by telling you anything that was going to like hurt your chances. And she was basically just like explaining to him why the lie went on the length of time that it did. He really looking like he just didn't care. He was looking like he didn't really want to hear nothing about it. Mecca was trying to like kind of speak up and vouch for Monet and stuff, but Zeke was just kind of over it. And he was basically just like, look, just tell me one thing. Did you have anything to do with Carrie Milgram's death? Now we know that Monet went over that woman's house, said all that stuff to her, and then next thing you know, Carrie Milgram done woke up dead, okay? But Monet lies because Monet's a liar. Like, that's her default. Like, just lie. That's the natural thing that comes to her. So she's just like, I had nothing to do with that. As soon as I left the dinner from over there with the family, I came straight over here to Dante's house. Now, of course, Mecca know that she did not do that. But he goes ahead and lies for her anyway. And he's like, yeah. She came straight over here. And I'm like, y'all just y'all been lying to him all this time, and that's what got y'all into this. Well, Mecca hasn't been lying. Mecca didn't even know, but Monet, like, you've been lying to him all this time, and that's how you got into this trouble that you're in right now, and you gonna keep lying to him some more? Like, girl, now you gonna start a whole other series of lies. So anyway, they both lie. It don't even work because Zeke still gets up and he's like, well, you know what? It don't matter because once I get, back, to the league or whatever, I'm leaving and I'm gonna be done with both of y'all for good. And then he just dips. And I was like, well, all right. There's that. So Drew is with his boo, they're having their little boo time or whatever. And in the middle of it, Everett stops him and he's like, oh, babe, like, did you notice your hand is fully healed? And he's like, maybe you can finally, like, draw me that tattoo. Because when they first met, that was the whole thing that Drew, he could draw really well and he was going to draw Everett a tattoo or whatever. And Drew just, like, gets all somber and serious and he's like, I don't do that anymore. And I'm like, since when? Like, when you first got hurt, you was like literally like trying so hard to draw again. Now your hand is fully healed. You don't draw no more? Like, when did we get here? Like, when did this happen? But anyway, in case you were like me and didn't know, Drew don't draw no more. So he gets all like weird about it and goes into the bathroom and shuts the door and he's just like staring at himself in the mirror all seriously. And I'm just like, did I miss something? Like, when did he just vow to not draw anymore? But anyway, he notices that like draped across the toilet is Everett's pants. He reaches in the pocket and he gets Everett's access card out of the pocket, and that is what he needed to be able to carry out the little plan that he has with Diana to get the drugs back. So Jenny is with Braden and his family and their lawyer. They're in a deposition, and basically Jenny is playing for them the recording of Lauren when she was basically talking to Braden and Kane, and she's asking Braden, like, you said you didn't know this person, but here you are on tape with this person. Basically, she's trying to get Braden to talk and to share things about Tariq. Braden is like, I don't know nothing, okay? But his brother, who is sitting right next to him, is like, Psh, yes, we do know, because he had took us out and he had us dropped us off on the corner, had us trying to sell drugs, and we got beat up, and then the cops came, and he's just singing like a canary, telling everything. Braden is looking at him like, really? And he is just telling everything. And so basically Braden is like, he's a drug addict, he don't know no better, he don't know what he's saying, he's just lying. And then all of a sudden, Jenny pulls out the pictures from Detective Ramirez's dash cam that literally proves that everything that his brother is saying about like them being out on the street and Detective Ramirez coming to pick them up after Cain had him out there doing XYZ, like it literally proves that what he said about that was true. And so Jenny is like, do you want to come clean? And he's basically like, I don't know nothing, I'm not saying nothing. And so his brother Trace is like, well, I'll testify, I'll do it, I'll testify. And so she's like, and so the lawyer for Braden and them's family is basically like, look, if he testifies, the only way that like he'll do it is if both of them have immunity regardless of like what information comes out. And the dad is like pushing for that, and Braden is just sitting there like, bro, really? And his brother's like, yeah, I'll do it, I would love to testify, because he don't like Tariq. And so I'm just like, wow, this is not gonna end well for Braden's brother. Like, it's not gonna end well at all. So Braden heads to his dorm. Tariq is there, and he's just kind of casually asking Tariq, like, how did court go today? Like, how's the trial going? And Tariq lets him know that, like, yeah, Councilman Tate, he was called to the stand today, but, he didn't say anything. And so Braden is like, oh, so Councilman Tate didn't say anything negative to you? And Tariq is like, mm-mm. And Braden is like, You gave him that picture that I told you not to give him, didn't you? And so they get into a little back and forth, and Tariq is like, I'm trying to save my family. And Brayden is like, but I told you not to give them that photo. Like, everything is not about you. And so they're going back and forth about that, and Brayden just gets hella mad, and he ends up storming out the room. I'm sitting here like, Tariq, you pissing him off, and he's literally been offered immunity to turn you in. You might not want to piss him off. But I think Braden is solid. So I don't think that Braden would do that to Tariq. But if his brother's going to testify, it's not really up to him, you know? So we'll see how that goes. So Diana pulls up on Tariq. She's upset. She's crying. He's like, I got to go meet with my lawyer. And she's like, well, do you have a few minutes? We know that she's just trying to get the QR code. But he is like, oh, she's upset. He's lets her in. She's venting to him. She's crying. She's telling him about the conversation that she had with Drew, where he was saying that like everything that happened in the family was her fault. And she's telling Tariq about how, you know, she figured out that Monet is Zeke's mom, and this dude named Dante is Zeke's dad, and it's somebody that Monet was dealing with. And she's telling him all the tea about Dante and Zeke and all that stuff, and she's crying, and she's like, oh, do you have something to drink? And he goes to get her a water, and while he's going to get her a water, she gets the QR code from his phone. So afterwards, Diana leaves. Tariq goes off to see his lawyer, and she and Drew go up to the roof. They get all the drugs. They scan the little QR code. All the little secret boxes pop open. They get all the drugs out. They go take them to Lorenzo, and then Lorenzo and Drew go and they deliver the drugs to all their little soldiers or whatever, and all is right with the world. So it would seem. But we know it's never that easy. So Zeke is at a press conference with his agent. He's there to basically let the reporters and stuff know that he's going to take a year off from school, and he's going to be working with a private coach during that time, and then he's going to be trying to join the league after that year is up. And so they're just kind of talking to him, and then all of a sudden people's phones start buzzing, and the news story of him being older than he's alleged to be, that news story is what's on people's phones. And so all the reporters and stuff start asking him about that. They're like, what, is it true that you lied about your age, da da da? And so at that point the agent cuts the press conference short, and he basically tells Zeke, like, if this is true, like, you can count your dreams of going to the NBA as over with. So Lauren pulls up on Tariq, and she's basically just talking to him and telling him, like, you know, hey Reek, you know, I heard what happened to Professor Milgram. Like, you know, I hope that you don't feel responsible for that. You shouldn't. Like, I should have listened to you. I shouldn't have listened to her, da da da. And Tariq is just kind of blowing her off. He's just like, okay, I hear you, bye. And Lauren is just kind of pleading her case, and she's basically just like, look, the only reason I agreed to even wear the wire is because they told me that Brayden was a suspect, not you. And Tariq is like, what? You know, this is his first time hearing that. And she's letting Tariq know, like, you know, yeah, that's why I was asking you if Brayden knew about the book Jabari was writing and all that, because they said he was the one that was being suspected of the murder, not you. That's the only reason I did it. I would have never did it if it was you. And so then she goes on to talk about how, you know, while she was wearing the wire, she had came to the room to talk to Kane, to talk to Braden, and Kane was there. And so once Tariq realizes that she was wearing a wire and she got Kane and Braden on the wire, Tariq is like, girl, you're in danger. You need to get out of here. You need to get out of town. And at first Lauren is like, no, Jenny told me that I'm fine and that. And Tariq was like, look, you can trust Jenny or you can listen to me. You are in danger. You need to get out of town. I will help you get out of town. Go to your parents' house. Like, you are not safe. And so Lauren walks away, and she like looks back, and she's kind of rolling her eyes, and I'm like, girl, he's trying to save you. What are you mad about? Like, this is the reality. Like, you're mad at him for telling you you're in danger as if he's the one that put you in danger. Like, no, you and Carrie Milgram did that. He's just letting you know to try and save your life. What are you mad about, girl? So she walks away looking mad, and I'm just like, girl. So, happy little family, Mecca, Monet, and Zeke are at a basketball court. They're just kind of shooting hoops, trying to cheer Zeke up because he's had that press conference and they know about his age now. And so his chances of going to the league are looking like slim to none. So he's really sad about it. They're basically trying to cheer him up while they're at the court talking to him. SUV pulls up and starts blasting on them. And so, of course, Mecca starts shooting back or whatever. And once the SUV drives off, Monet is like, who would be trying to come after you? And Mecca is like, do you think it was Lorenzo? And Monet is like, he could have been the one to leak the story too. And she's like, is anybody like trying to come after you? And Mecca's like, I don't know. And so they're basically like thinking that it's probably Lorenzo. It doesn't really make sense for it to be Lorenzo. Like, why would he? It just doesn't make sense. For me, I feel like the person that had the most to gain from leaking that story was Mecca. Because he was already at the bar with Zeke telling him, like, maybe it's good that the story goes ahead and comes out. You could spin it in the right direction. And not only that, but Zeke was like, once I go to the league, I'm leaving for good and neither one of y'all are never going to see me again. And we know that Mecca wants to be in his son's life. So if Mecca wanted to keep him from leaving and him never being able to see him again, the best way to do that is to leak the story so he can't go to the league. So they're basically saying that, like, oh, Lorenzo probably did this. And I'm like, nah, Dante probably did this. Like, I feel like Dante definitely leaked that story. As far as who's shooting at him, I was thinking, like, is it TGT? But I thought he killed all of them. But, child, I don't know. But as far as who leaked that story about Zeke's real age, I 100% feel like Dante/Mecca is absolutely 100% the one that did it. So Tariq is chilling with Effie. They're just chit-chatting, and Tariq is kind of down, and he's basically ends up coming clean to Effie and letting her know about Lauren getting Kane and Braden on the wire. And Effie is just super irritated with him, and she's like Lauren is a rat. Like, you're trying to like make excuses for her, and she's a rat. And Tariq is just like, no, it's not like that. Like, you don't understand. You don't know the full story. And Effie is just hella over it. And my whole thing is, you're not about to be laying up with me every night and then just like caping for this chick who wore a wire and got you on trial for murder. Like, I want Effie to just kind of like take a stand on that, because no. But either way, Tariq ends up storming out because they're just kind of going back and forth about it. And he's like, you just don't understand. You don't know the full story. And then he just like storms out the room. And I'm like, girl, Effie, I'm going to need you to get a little bit of a backbone, sis. Because when we first met you, you had a whole lot more backbone. And now that you've been getting your back blown out by Tariq St. Patrick, the backbone just ain't there no more. Like, I need you to get it together. Luckily, after Effie's little back and forth with Tariq, and she realizes that Tariq is not going to do anything about Lauren, she ends up going to Kane. And she basically lets Kane know, like, look, Lauren was wearing a wire and she got you and Braden on the wire. And so she basically knows that once she tells Kane that, Kane is going to do what needs to be done, basically. I got a question for y'all. Did y'all catch a little bit of like chemistry or sexual tension between Effie and Kane? Or was that just me? Was that just me? And I couldn't tell if it was like acting or if there's like real like chemistry and sexual tension between like the actual people, the actual actors themselves. But it was something there. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. But it felt like it was something there. I wouldn't be mad about them two in it because they're both grimy. So it would make sense. They're definitely both grimy. And also, Kane hates Tariq so much that he would probably take great joy in taking Effie away from him. So I wouldn't be mad about that. And it was just some tension there. And I'm like, maybe the actors in real life are feeling each other. I don't know. But whatever the case, it was giving sexual tension. I don't know. Let me know if y'all caught it too. But basically, she lets Cain know, like, look, Tariq is not going to do nothing about it, but she was wearing a wire and she got y'all on tape. So what's up? So once Effie lets him know this information, Cain goes and meets with Brayden, and he's basically telling Brayden, like, I want you to be the one to take care of the Lauren situation. And Brayden is like stressing about it because he's like, I ain't never like killed nobody. Like, I don't, this, you know, how I'm supposed, you want me to just do this like to someone that I actually know personally and I've never even done this before? And Cain is basically like, yeah, and if you don't take care of her, I'm going to take care of you. And so basically Brayden's hands are tied. Like, either he's going to have to get rid of Lauren or he's going to have to deal with Cain himself. So that is his dilemma. So Councilman Tate is at dinner with the DNC dude to discuss the Councilman Sweeney situation. Of course, this whole season he's been basically trying to figure out a way to come for Councilman Sweeney's seat. And he's having dinner with the DNC dude because he's like, I have a reason to, you know, for him to be removed from his seat now. And he goes ahead and he shows the DNC dude the photo that Tariq gave him of Councilman Sweeney in blackface. And child, based on the look on that dude's face when he looked at the photo, it's not looking good. Meanwhile, Jenny pulls up on Brayden and she's basically like, look, your brother is agreeing to take the stand against Cain Tejada, and I think you and I both know what's probably gonna happen to your brother if he does that. And she's basically like, look, I can help protect your brother from Cain if you give me something on Cain. Like, I can have Cain off the street and in jail tonight if you give me some information on him. And then when your brother takes a stand against Tariq, it's not gonna, you know, then Cain can't bring any harm to him. Now, this sounds like a cute little idea, but what we know is that it ain't just Cain that is, I mean, it's the whole Tejada family. So even if Brayden were to do that, you're still not protecting his brother, because there's still a whole lineup of people who would still be wanting to come after him on Cain's behalf. So basically, like, she gives her card to Brayden and she's like, you know, if you give me some information, I can get Cain off the street, and then, you know, he can't come after your brother when he testifies against Tariq. So the St. Patrick estate lawyer dude takes Tariq to the home of the family where Yasmin is staying, because he really just wants to show Tariq that, look, she's happy, she's in a loving home, the family loves her, like, she seems to be happy there. And he basically just kind of wants to put Tariq's mind at ease about the situation with Yasmin. Tariq is really upset. He gets out the car as like he's gonna like walk up to the house, but he doesn't. He just kind of stops and he just looks, and, you know, he's just kind of accepting the fact that, like, it's done. His sister is gonna get adopted into this family, and that's that. In my mind, I'm sitting here like, okay, estate lawyer guy, I understand what you were trying to do, but what you actually did was just show Tariq St. Patrick where these people live. I don't know if that's gonna turn out to be a good idea, but we'll see. So Monet and Mecca are at his house and they're talking, and Monet is basically like, look, Lorenzo tried to come after us and kill us. You need to kill him. And I'm like, whoa, like, it's so weird to me how Monet went from literally loyal wife pulling up to conjugal visits every week to see her man to let's kill this nigga. Like, she made the jump so fast. Like, it did not take much for her to make that jump. And I'm just like, dang, like, you ready to end his life. You ready to end his life. But she's like, we need to kill him. Like, he's both of our enemy at this point. We need to kill him. Even though I really just don't even think it makes sense that it would have been Lorenzo trying to shoot at them. I think it's more likely that maybe somebody within TGT that they missed was shooting at Mecca. Like, that makes more sense to me. But either way, she thinks Lorenzo sent hitters to kill them, and she's like, we need to kill him. And Mecca is basically, Dante is what she knows him by, is basically like, you know, I got a better idea. Why don't we hop on my private jet? You, me, and our son, and your kids can come too, and we just leave here. We go to a private island somewhere. And Monet is like, okay, Zeke's not gonna come. He already said, like, he's not fooling us like that. And Dante is basically just like, well, I mean, he's not going to the league anymore, right? So, I mean, what are his other options? I think this would be a great option for him since the league is out the picture. And I'm like, And see, that's why I think you don't want to leak that story, because this is what you was counting on. You wanted the league to be out the picture for him so that he wouldn't have no other alternative but coming wherever you trying to get him to come to. So, yeah, Dante, Mecca, whatever your name is, I see you. So Braden and Effie are just kind of going for a little walk. They're basically talking about Tariq. They're talking about the situation with Lauren, and Effie is just kind of like, you know, Tariq, it just seems like he's maybe he's getting a little bit soft, you know, he's been acting different or whatever. And Braden is just kind of like telling her, like, he's kind of having an ethical dilemma about what Cain asked him to do. He doesn't tell Effie what Cain has asked him to do. He's just like, Cain asked me to do something and I'm torn about it. Effie already knows because she was the one that told Cain about the Lauren situation. So she kind of already peeps that, oh, okay, so Cain asked him to be the one to take care of Lauren. And so she's basically letting Brayden know, like, look, you gotta do what you gotta do. And she tells him, she's like, you went to the street life. Like, the street life didn't come to you. Like, you sought out the street life. You wanted to be a drug dealer doing hood shit with your friends so fucking bad. And this is the life. So do what you gotta do. And I'm glad she said that, because that's the thing about Tariq and Brayden, is that both of them, like, were privileged, very wealthy, did not have to be in the streets, chose to be in the streets, literally fought tooth and nail to be out here drug dealing and murdering. And now when they get in situations that come with drug dealing and murdering, they want to feel, you know, like they're a victim or something. Like, guess what? People who are in the streets and drug dealers, sometimes they got to murder people, Brayden. That's what happens. This is the life you wanted. Same with Tariq. Tariq, you wanted to be a drug dealer and a killer out here. Well, sometimes drug dealers and killers go to prison. Like, that is the life. Like, this is the life you wanted. You got it. Do what you need to do. And so that's basically what Effie tells him. And he's just kind of like, you know. So Mecca comes home where, of course, Cain is being held hostage. And he walks in and he's like, look, I'm going to be out the country for, you know, a little bit. You're going to be in charge while I'm gone. And Cain is just like, look, man, I got to go home. Like, I cannot stay here while you out the country. And so Mecca, he goes in the back somewhere. He comes out with the blicky out and he's like, where's my bag? Where's my bag? Now, I let you get away with stealing my drugs, but you need to give me that bag right now. And I'm like, so you know Cain was behind the drug thing, but you killed Chef. Mecca is on some other stuff. But anyway, he's like, I need that bag right now. And Cain is still lying. He's like, man, Mecca, you know I would never steal from you. You know I would never take nothing from you. And so Mecca's like, okay, bet. Well, guess what? It's a tracking device in the bag, so let's track it. So he pulls out a phone. He tracks the little tracking device that he put in that bag, and he sees that the bag is on the Stansfield campus. And he's like, bet, I'm finna go get my bag, and you stay right here. All your access has been revoked, which means now you can't leave. You are literally stuck in here until I get back with my bag. And so now, like, at first, like, Cain was trapped. He could come and go. It's just that Mecca was tracking him, so he knew where he was. But now he can't leave. Like, he can't get out of the building. Like, he's literally trapped now. And so Mecca leaves. He's going to Stansfield to go find his bag. And so Cain hops on the phone and he calls Monet, and he basically like calls her to just kind of like tell her goodbye. And it was like hitting me in the emotionals and in the feels and stuff, because I was like, oh, I was like, Cain, you know, like, Cain is a very, like, tricky character because it's like you hate him and he be making these decisions that make you, like, so angry, but he just kind of somehow, like, I don't know. I don't want Cain to die. I don't. Like, that would make me really sad. So anyway, he calls and he's just kind of telling his mom, he's like, look, Mecca, he found out that we're the ones behind the heist or whatever. He has me trapped here. I can't leave, I'm stuck here. I just wanted to call and say goodbye. Like, if I try to leave, he might come after the family and I can't let that happen. And I was like, he do love his family. And that's the thing about Cain. Like, he be doing real selfish stuff, but ultimately he really does care about his family. And he really do be looking out for the family. Like, he just be making decisions that are, like, dumb, that the rest of the family probably wouldn't agree with. But in his own way, he do be thinking he's looking out for them. And he really cares about them in his own way. And so, he's basically letting her know, like, look, I can't, if I try to leave or I try to whatever, he's going to come after family. I'm just going to take whatever comes, it is what it is. I just want to say goodbye, tell Drew and Diana that I said goodbye. It was a little funny to me that he made sure to be like, tell Drew and Diana I said goodbye, but he did not say anything about telling his dad he said goodbye. I was like, that's a little shady. But anyway, he's like, tell Drew and Diana that I say goodbye, da-da-da. And Monet is like, no, like, why wouldn't he just kill you? Why would he leave you in his house with a cell phone, with access to stuff? No, like, that don't make sense. She's like, it's not making sense. It's not adding up. And Cain is like, well, I think he's going to go kill Tariq first because, he tracked the bag and it was at Stansfield. I think he's going to go kill Tariq first and then come back and kill me. And so Monet is like, no, it's not making sense. It's not adding up. Send me the address of where you are and also send me a picture of Mecca. So I'm like, ha, you finally about to figure out that Mecca is your baby daddy. So she's like, send me a picture of him and make sure you warn Tariq. So Cain ends up sending a text message to Tariq like, hey, Mecca knows that we robbed him. Like, he knows he tracked the bag. There's a tracking device in the bag that you have, and he knows it's at Stansfield. He's tracking it. And so Tariq goes, he gets the bag. I didn't even realize that Tariq had the whole bag. For whatever reason, he kept the bag, because I know that he gave the blue ring to Davis, but I didn't realize that he just kept the rest of the bag and all the contents in it. And so he goes, he gets the bag, he starts going through it, and I'm just like, you didn't already go through the bag? Like, I don't know. I was confused about that. But for whatever reason, he still has the bag and he hadn't looked through it besides to get the ring to give to Davis. But anyway, he starts going through the bag. He sees all these passports in it. It's a passport there's one with Kane's picture on it, there's one with Drew's pictures on it, there's one with Monet's picture on it. And so it's all these passports, all these documents and paperwork and stuff, and he sees like some government paperwork and stuff like that, and he takes some photos of it. He sees on it Mecca's actual name, which is Dante Spears, and he ends up sending that information over to Davis so that Davis can just kind of look into him. So Tariq is going to do something with the bag, I guess hide it or something, and he calls Braden. He's like, hey Braden, can you do me a favor? Can you take Lauren and get her out of town? Conveniently enough, Braden is already sitting outside of Lauren's parents' house on some real deal stalker vibes because, of course, Cain has sent him to get rid of her. So he's already just kind of like staking out outside of Lauren's parents' house. So he's like, sure, I can pick her up and take her wherever. And so Tariq is like, thank you. This is, thanks so much. He texts Lauren. He lets Lauren know that, hey, Braden is coming to pick you up. Lauren comes out. She hops in the car with Braden. She's like, oh my God, thank you, Braden. Thank you so much for doing this. And I'm just like, girl, you in danger. So Davis calls Tariq and he's like, bro, the dude Dante Spears that you wanted me to look into, how the hell did you get mixed up with him? This man is one of the most notorious criminal informants ever. Like, the government is paying top dollar just to keep him safe. They had him flew him all out the country just to keep him safe. He's informed on some of the biggest criminals ever. And I'm like, yo, so fucking Mecca is a super rat? Like, what? That I was not expecting. I was not expecting that. I didn't know what. So I knew something was fishy about Mecca, but I didn't know what it was. I was not expecting the GOAT of criminal informants. Like, I wasn't expecting that. So Davis is basically letting Tariq know this as Davis is walking up to his room, and he's just like, you know, you need to be careful. And Tariq goes to walk into his room. He kind of like takes a deep breath before he walks in, which makes me believe that like he already knows Dante's in there. And so he like kind of takes a deep breath. He walks in the room. Of course, Dante is in there, got the blicky in his hand, and he's just sitting there waiting for Tariq. And he's like, you know, where's my stuff? Where's my bag? The funniest thing about him wanting this bag so bad is that the ring is not in there. And I think that's like one of the main things that he probably cares about. It ain't even in there. But anyway, he's sitting there. He's waiting for Tariq. He's like, where's my bag? And he's like, I know who you are. I know about your Uncle Tommy. I know about your dad. I even know that you killed him. And he's like just telling Tariq all this stuff about his life. And then Tariq is like, and I know about you too, Dante Spears. I know you're a criminal informant. I know this and that. And so he's telling him all this stuff about his life. And so Dante like comes across the room, chokes him up, and he's like, how do you know this? Who else knows this? And da-da-da. And Tariq is like, listen, if you don't want me to tell nobody, I want $2 million and I want an account in another name, and I know you can do it, and da-da-da. Mecca is basically just like, okay, you know, I'll give you your little account and your little money, whatever, but I need that bag back. I'm not giving you nothing until I get that bag. And so basically, in order for Tariq not to like tell nobody, you know, about him and about him being an informant and stuff, he's gonna like meet Tariq's demands. And when this scene was happening, I was like, oh shoot, the people that was shooting at him and Monet and Zeke, it could have been anybody. If Mecca is this criminal informant that has been like out here snitching on people, like it low-key could have been anybody that was shooting at him. So that just opened that question back up, like, wait, who was that was shooting at them? Because we still don't know who it was. As Mecca's leaving the room, he turns to Tariq and he's like, you know what? When I was in the military, we were working at this place overseas, and there were people who were, you know, willing to hire us to do XYZ, and the highest bidder at that time was a man named Felipe Lobos, and I was given top dollar by the government to snitch on him, and before he could come after me, somebody killed him, and it was your dad. So when you get to hell, tell your dad I said good looking out. And I was like, that they just wanted to tie Felipe Lobos into this. Like, it was just so weird for him to just like randomly like throw that story out there. Like, by the way, Felipe Lobos. That's familiar, isn't it? Like, it's like they just wanted to throw a familiar name in there. I'm like, okay. Like, it was okay. It's a connection, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It was weird for them to just throw that out there. It's like they were like, we need to give him a connection to the other season somehow. Felipe Lobos. And it's just like, it was just weird for him to just throw that information out there like that. And I mean, I guess maybe they expected us to be like, oh, but it's just like, you know? Anyway, he threw that out there to let us know that, connection to the other seasons. Cool. Okay. Got it. So Braden is driving Lauren, you know, to some place far, far away. Lauren is in the passenger seat asleep, and Braden takes the opportunity to veer off to a dark side road or something. He veers off to a side road, and Lauren wakes up and she's like, where are we? He hops out the car and he pulls a gun and he's like, get out the car right now. And she thinks that he's gonna like, you know, kill her or whatever, but he actually just gives her a bag of money and he's like, go far away. You need to be off the grid. That means no debit cards, no contact to nobody, no nothing, because basically, you know, if Cain doesn't think that she's dead, then Brayden's life is going to be in danger. So, you know, he's going to spare her, but like she's going to have to like dead ass not come back and not have a trace of her be able to be found, or else Brayden's life's gonna be in danger. And so he's giving her this bag of money and he's gonna let her go, and she's like, oh my god, thank you. Right when you think sis is gonna get away, another car pulls up behind them. It's Effie. Effie pulls up, she got her gun pulled, she snatches Lauren up, takes Lauren to her car and drives off with her. And I'm just like, damn, Braden, you tried to do something nice and here comes Effie. It's the loyalty that she has for somebody who is not even... Effie is a real one. I don't want to see Effie going out sad like this over Tariq St. Patrick. Okay? I don't want to see Effie doing like stuff like this for Tariq St. Patrick. He's smashing all of y'all. Like, I just, Effie, she really gone in the head over him enough to do this. I was just like, dang, Effie, man, dang. And the thing is, like, it's not even to her benefit. It's like, it's not like Lauren has information that could get Effie in trouble. Like, you're literally just doing this solely to save Tariq, and Tariq ain't even trying to save himself when it comes to Lauren. So I'm just like, Effie, it's giving very one-sided. Like, I feel like the loyalty is one-sided. I don't feel like Tariq would have your back in that way. I just don't think that he would. He wasn't even willing to get rid of Lauren to save his own self, you know? But anyway, yeah, it's looking like she got rid of Lauren. So Mecca pulls up to his crib. He turns the corner going the hell off on Cain, but when he gets around the corner, he realizes that Cain is not alone. Who's there with him? His mother, Monet. And so now all is revealed. Monet and Cain both understand that Mecca and Dante are one and the same, and that Dante has been playing this whole little game to basically use Cain to get close to Monet and basically like cause disruption within their family to make it so that he could get what he wanted from her and Zeke. And so all has like come out about that whole thing at this point in time. And Mecca ends up being like, look, the mastermind behind the whole heist thing was actually Lorenzo. That's our common enemy. We need to get rid of him. And I'm like, once again, like, Monet, all of a sudden you just want your husband dead? Like, out of nowhere? Like, I understand you, like, before they found out about the Zeke thing and the Dante thing, you was like ready to like make things work with him. So you went from that to I want him dead? Like, girl, what? Like, that's a huge jump. So I'm just tripping off that. But either way, she's letting Dante / Mecca know that, look, it was Lorenzo's idea to steal your stuff, so we need to kill him. And Mecca is basically to Cain, like, are you sure you're down with that? Like, that's your dad. And Cain is like, yeah, you don't understand. The relationship between me and my dad is very complicated. And I'm like, it's given very much Tariq St. Patrick, I'm gonna kill my daddy because he was mean to me and wouldn't let me do what I wanted to do type of vibes. And I'm just like, y'all really be coming to the conclusion to kill y'all's parents that easily? Okay. But anyway, Cain is like, yeah, I'm down with it. And so basically it's looking like they're about to go try to kill Lorenzo. So in the last scene, Effie comes back to the dorm. Tariq is asleep. Effie is just kind of walking through the dorm all somber and serious looking. The face is giving very much traumatized. It's giving very much, I just murdered somebody. It's like we didn't like physically see her do anything to Lauren. Like we just saw her put Lauren in a car and drive off. But the face on Effie during this last scene, it is giving very much, I am guilt ridden because I just took somebody's life for the first time. And I'm just like, damn, Effie, like you did this for Tariq. He's not even loyal to you as far as like not sleeping with nobody else. And if you murder somebody for him, like, girl. And then my whole thing is like, the person that you murdered is somebody that he cared so much about that he wouldn't even get rid of her to save himself. So if he finds out that you did that, he's gonna be madder at you. He's gonna be more mad at you, even though you did it to try and save him. He's going to hate you. And so she's just like getting undressed and she gets in the bed with him and she's just like laying there just looking sick. Like just, what have I done type of vibes. And I'm just like, dang, Effie. And I don't know. Like, is this not going to be good for her? Because Tariq is not going to be happy that she did this. Like, yeah, she did it to try and save him. But he is going to hate her because he cared too much about Lauren. So this is going to be interesting. We're going to see how this goes. But child, technically we don't know for sure that Effie killed Lauren, but that's what it was giving. Now it's possible that maybe she just like hid her away somewhere, but I don't know. The look on Effie's face, it was giving guilt. I took somebody's life and I'm guilty. So we'll see, but that's where the episode ends. This was a very good episode. I thoroughly enjoyed it. We have one more episode left. The season finale, I just know it's going to be a lot. I'm ready. I know how Power be doing. I know they're going to leave us on some crazy ass cliffhanger and then we're going to have to wait a year to figure out what the hell happened. So I'm preparing myself for that. I know that Power likes to kill people on season finales. And I'm just like, who y'all gonna kill? There's nobody left on the show that I would want to see die except maybe Cooper Saxe Boo Thang. I wouldn't be too mad if Cooper Saxe Boo Jenny got. But also, I wouldn't necessarily be too mad if Brayden's brother got. So I'm just like, somebody gonna get got. I don't know if I would be glad if Lorenzo gets got in the next episode, because I think that would just cut off the storyline too quickly. I want to see Lorenzo and Mecca going at it for a little bit, like for a few episodes at least. So I don't know. But then also, if Lorenzo gets got in this next episode in the finale, then we could have like a whole I need to avenge my father thing going on with Drew. And then it could be like Drew versus Cain, and like Drew trying to avenge his dad and get revenge because Cain was the one that orchestrated it. Like that could be a whole thing. So I don't know. It's a lot of ways it could go. But I just don't want to see none of my faves die. I don't want Effie or Diana or Cain or Drew or Everett to go. Those are the ones, or Braden. Those are the ones that I'm like, I don't want nothing to happen to them. Everybody else is kind of up for grabs. Even Monet. I'm sorry, Monet. But even you're up for grabs. Even Zeke. I would be sad because Zeke is like the one innocent person in this whole entire series. But I kind of wouldn't care if he died. So I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, especially if you made it all the way to the end. And I'll see y'all back here for the season finale. I'm hyped. I'm excited. And I can't wait to talk about it. But yeah, see y'all in the next one. Bye.